Kings Dominion is an amusement park located in Doswell, Virginia, just outside of Richmond. Kings Dominion is one of the best parks in the eastern United States, and while it has a pretty solid collection of thrill rides and coasters, it has also been home to some of the most iconic coasters to ever operate. Getting into the park's history, Kings Dominion all began when family leisure centers wanted to open a new park following the success of Kings Dominion's sister park, Kings Island. The company decided on constructing the park in Doswell, as they were looking to construct the park in a new region of the country. Construction began in October of 1972. In 1974, Kings Dominion held a preview event where two attractions were open, those being a drive-through safari known as Lion Country Safari and Scooby-Doo roller coaster, which is now known as Woodstock Express, a PTC wooden coaster. On May 3, 1975, Kings Dominion officially opened its doors. The park opened with a total of 15 different attractions, the most prominent ones being Racer 75, a racing wooden coaster that still operates at the park today, Woodstock Express, and the Eiffel Tower, which is a 1/3 scale replica of the actual Eiffel Tower in Paris and identical to Kings Island's Eiffel Tower. At some point that same year, Galaxy, a STC Galaxy coaster, debuted. In 1977, King Cobra, a Schwarzkopf shuttle loop, opened. In 1979, Lost World Mountain debuted. Lost World Mountain was a park icon and over its lifetime was home to many different rides at the park. In March of 1982, Grizzly, a wooden roller coaster, opened to the public. Grizzly was built by PTC and designed by the Taft Broadcasting Company. The layout winds through the forest behind the park and features a variety of drops and turns during its layout. In 1983, Galaxy closed for good. In 1986, Shockwave, a Togo stand-up coaster, debuted. That same year, King Cobra closed for good and was relocated to Jolly Roger in Maryland, then to Alton Towers in the UK, and finally to Hopi Hari in Brazil, where it still operates today. In 1988, Avalanche, a Mock Rides bobsled coaster, opened to the public, and to this day is the only Mock Rides bobsled coaster in North America. In March of 1991, Anaconda, an aerodynamics looping coaster, made its debut. In 1993, Kings Dominion, along with its sister parks, were purchased by Paramount Communications, and the park was renamed to Paramount's Kings Dominion. After Paramount had purchased the park, Lion Country Safari would close for good. In April of 1994, Hurler, an International Coasters Incorporated wooden roller coaster, debuted. The same coaster also debuted at Carowinds that same year. In June of 1996, Outer Limits Flight of Fear, now known as just Flight of Fear, opened. Flight of Fear is an indoor premier ride spaghetti bowl launch coaster and is a clone of the one at Kings Island. Flight of Fear, along with the one at Kings Island, were the first to feature an LIM launch. In March of 1997, Taxi Jam, an E&F Miler kiddie coaster, now known as the Great Pumpkin roller coaster, opened. In August of 1998, one of the most iconic coasters to ever operate at the park debuted, Volcano the Blast Coaster. Volcano the Blast Coaster was an Intamin double-launch suspended catapult coaster and was the only full-circuit launch suspended coaster by Intamin to ever operate, was the first launch inverted coaster. The coaster was located inside the former Lost Island Mountain. The mountain was rethemed and converted into a volcano to fit the ride's theme. In March of 2001, Hypersonic XLC made its debut. Hypersonic XLC gave Kings Dominion the title the launch coaster capital of the world. Hypersonic XLC was an S&S thrust-to-air launch coaster similar to Dodonpa at Fuji-Q Highland in Japan, and launched riders from 0 to 80 miles per hour in just 1.8 seconds. In March of 2002, Ricochet, now known as Apple's Apple, opened. Apple's Apple is a Mock Rides Wild Mouse coaster. In 2003, Drop Tower, an Intamin gyro drop tower, opened to the public. Drop Tower is very similar to the one found at Kings Island. While it isn't as tall as the other gyro drop towers, it features a longer drop than any of them. In May of 2006, the Italian Job Turbo Coaster, now known as just Backlot Stunt Coaster, opened to the public. Backlot Stunt Coaster is a Premier Rides family launch coaster and is a clone of the ones found at Kings Island and Canada's Wonderland. In mid-2006, Kings Dominion was purchased by Cedar Fair, and most of the Paramount theming was removed. In 2007, Hypersonic XLC was removed due to a number of issues the coaster had. In May of 2008, Dominator, a B&M floorless, debuted. Dominator was relocated from Geauga Lake after the park had closed for good. Dominator is the longest floorless coaster and has one of the largest vertical loops found on any coaster. In April of 2010, was arguably the park's best coaster, Intimidator 305, opened to the public. Intimidator 305 is an Intamin Giga coaster and is known for being one of the most intense coasters in operation. The coaster was so intense that trims were added to the first turn around due to a number of people blacking out. Planet Snoopy was also introduced that same year. In May of 2011, Windseeker, a Mondial tower swing, debuted. In August of 2015, Shockwave was removed. And at the end of the 2015 season, the park silently closed Hurler. In 2016, Delirium, a Mondial Frisbee, opened. In March of 2018, an RMC hybrid known as Twisted Timbers opened. Twisted Timbers was the first RMC to open in the Cedar Fair chain and is a conversion of Hurtler. In February of 2019, Kings Dominion announced that Volcano the Blast coaster would close for good due to a number of problems the coaster had in recent years. Most recently, the park has announced Timbuli will open this year in 2022. Timbuli is an SNS free spin and will be a clone of Dragon Slayer at Adventureland and the one opening at Ocean Flower Fairyland in China. Overall, Kings Dominion still continues to be one of the best parks in the East Coast as well as North America.